Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ready Status Podcast. I'm trying to get better at that, too. I'm actually, well, whatever. How's it going?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
We were, before the podcast got started here, Alisa was trying to convince me that
I was born ready for this.
You were born ready for this podcast.
I was born for this. And then it spiraled into
a debate,
we're
a hot
not
debate
born ready.
about Shohei Ohtani.
Was born ready.
Yeah.
For
I
baseball.
don't know about that. If you guys are not baseball fans, we apologize for the Shohei Ohtani reference. But my wife, funny story, before we met, and really after we met, knew absolutely nothing about baseball.
Nope. I did pull
We
for
would bring up the word baseball, and she would be like, great, that's time for me to take a nap.
Nap.
And now it has incredibly gone the most opposite direction that you could have gone with something like this. Mm-hmm. She now gives me regular updates on other teams outside of our division and in our division, mm-hmm. and the current standings in which the team that we support, which happens to be the St. Louis Cardinals, where they are. She could tell me who's pitching. She can tell me the batters, all the team people's names. Mm-hmm. It's pretty incredible. It's like, but we literally went from it. I literally went from watching a baseball game with someone that took naps during baseball games to somebody that now watches baseball games and like yells at the TV when something is not happening in our favor.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I really appreciate you rallying behind baseball, but I'm going to need you to pull it down a couple notches when we're watching the games.
Cannot. I'm a very all or nothing kind of gal.
We made a monster out of this. It's incredible. But anyway, let's segue into some of the stuff we're going to talk about a little bit today. One thing I do want to, for those of you guys who are listening now to this podcast, I just wanted to say thanks. Like the first couple of episodes have been incredible. The downloads, we see you guys, man. This is great. Like I know some of the momentum we lost from some of the stuff that I used to do, but it's incredible to watch people come back, and there's real interest in what are you guys doing and what are you talking about and whatever. And I wanted to kind of just give you a little bit of an overview. We're really working on breaking this podcast into segments of things like where we don't want to talk about business all the time. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about business, relationships. We're going to talk about
mindset.
What mindset? I mean, we're just really working through like what are the pillars of things we're gonna discuss, and we want to make sure, like as we go through this, that we're in integrity with them. It's not just philosophy, like we told you guys in the beginning in the first podcast. So we want to make sure there's tactical things that come along with it every week and things like that. Second big point of business is we are finishing a book, so we're in the process of writing a book right now. I can't wait. I mean, we can't wait for this book to come out. It's not, I'll just tell you right out of the gate, I'm not going to tell you like all the details about it yet, because we want to really launch this in a really great way for you guys. But the book is not written like most books. It is a workbook. It's a tactical business book, really life book. I mean, it can be applicable to a lot of areas of life, where you guys are going to be able to go in and go through the chapters and work through them together with your teams and your spouse and yourself and like all these different things and really get. So, all right. So full transparency, right? Most of the time when I read books, I usually have to stop when I go through a section, I get a nugget from a section. If I keep reading past that, usually my brain like zones off and I don't retain what I just read. Mm-hmm. So I have to really be into the book to get it right. And most traditional books are written in a way that make it difficult for really anybody. I mean, like, especially guys like me, I'm not super theoretical, so I'm not just reading to read. I have to get something out of it. But it's difficult sometimes to retain that stuff that I'm reading, right? My brain wants to go start working on projects and things of that nature. So I wanted to write it in a way where anybody could retain it. Like our kids are reading it. Somebody who's got your mindset or type style is reading it. Somebody like me who's got like borderline ADD is reading it. But it's like, it's written in a way that's like the words are very user friendly, easy to read.
Yep.
The font is really easy to read. The cadence of the book is really easy to read and understand and interpret. And then on the backside of each chapter, it's like there's application, right?
Yep.
So it's not just theory or whatever. There's like stuff about it, right? Yep. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the book so far?
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I think the way that it's broken up is not like a traditional book, just like you said, and I think it's going to be really cool. I am more operationally geared, which everyone pretty much knows that, and when I read something, I like to apply it right then. And so that's kind of how the book is set up. Like you'll read through the section or the chapter, and then at the end there is practical application. There are questions that are being asked, and then you can answer them. And I think it's going to work really well for a lot of people. And like you said, it can work. We did a podcast last week about the 7 pillars of leadership and kind of how you grow through those, and you can use them for all of those different pillars. So whether you're working to become ready on your health and fitness, you can use this book. If you're working on your business, you can use this book. If you're working on your relationships, you can use this book. So the method kind of applies to all different aspects of life. So it's going to be really cool. I'm very excited about it.
It's like an interesting book that you can use it and then like put it away for a while, and then something shifts or changes in your life and you can use it again. So I don't know. I've never seen anything like this, right? And I was just like, hey, we were both talking through it, and we're like, here's some things that it needs to have in it so it's applicable and people get stuff out of it and whatever. Anyway, so I'm excited for the book too. I tried to write a book several years ago. I got about halfway through it and I'm like, I'm just not feeling it. I think I'll finish that book eventually, but I need to. There's still some stuff that needs to happen in my life before I can write those final chapters. But yeah, anyway, we'll get to that someday too. But yeah, that's something we're working on right now. It's been an interesting month, honestly. Like you guys know, like we exited a project that we were working on for a while, and we've really just been working on the book most of the month. We have a client that we're helping do some stuff with right now, but we're not really like in the active pursuit of like, I don't know, business mode right now, right? We're just really working in life mode. We're working in write the book mode. Anyway, whatever. So
basically a little reset kind of for our life in all aspects of everything, really. So.
Yeah, people keep asking us, what are you guys doing? And it's funny to say like nothing. We're doing nothing. I mean, we are doing a lot, but it's not normal work stuff. But yeah. All right. So we do have a podcast. So we're going to go through to you guys, but we are actively working on some significant projects that are coming. And that's also stuff that we're working on. We're just not ready to chat about them yet. But I promise you, like once we get that far and we're to that state, we're going to bring you guys some really cool stuff. There's a new website coming. There's new YouTube pages coming. There's Facebook stuff coming, but also there's like bigger business stuff happening. But yeah, we'll get there. All right, so let's roll through. So this podcast today is kind of unique. If I had to lump this under a section, this is kind of business. This is kind of personal life. This is kind of personal development. But this is a big deal, and I hope you guys are able to really just sit with it, work through it. I'm just going to challenge you kind of in the beginning. Don't hyper react to this podcast, because I think what's going to happen as we go through it, and you're going to start thinking of, in this instance, people in your life that you've been tolerating for a period of time, and your initial knee-jerk reaction, if you're anything like me, maybe not so much if you're more like Alisa, is going to be like, I have to systematically start working to eradicate these people out of my life. I will just say pause on that for a second. Let us get all the way through the podcast, and then see if you still feel the same way, and then maybe you'll go that direction. But the podcast we're going to go through today are basically the signs of the people that you've tolerated or you've allowed into your life for a long period of time, and it's no longer something that you want to do. So if I had to give this podcast a title, I would call it The Cost of Letting the Wrong People Stay in Your Life. And so the first thing I want to do, and it's really, really important, and anything like this where you're diagnosing something that you no longer want in your life, it's incredibly important that you pause for a second and take ownership of the fact that you were being someone, or you chose to act like someone, or whatever, that attracted these people into your life, right? You have to take ownership before you can take steps to slowly be clear about what you want and how you want it and the types of people and whatever. You first have to understand, like, me being or acting a certain way is what brought these people in the first place. So you can't just go, like, if you own a business, you can't just go, well, this is the wrong person. This person sucks. They're not doing what they're doing. And then just be like, I got to get them out of here and put full blame on these people, right? You have to stop and look at yourself and be like, a version of me brought these people in or allowed them to come in. And most of the time, if you guys remember, like often attracts like. So somehow in your life, in your world, you're acting similarly, that these people thought that they could relate to you and they wanted to be in your world, right? So here's what I want to walk through and kind of just give you guys some bullets as we go today and really talk about some main points. But the core thing that I really want you guys to understand is it only takes one wrong person to cost you guys years of progress on your life and your business, and your relationships, so on and so on. Literally, the tolerance of one person could dramatically push your life and the projections and all the things that you want back significantly in all the areas of your life, right? And so most of the time, it's because, I'm going to go through the why it's because here in a second, but it's ignoring it. A lot of times it happens because you're just ignoring the obvious. Like, the signs are all over the place. You're pouring into these people. You want to help these people, whatever the case may, and the things just aren't clicking. By the way, feel free on any of this just to jump in here. But I'm
sure you're going to get to this, but I think it's accountability. That's a big thing, and the conversations are hard when you're dealing with this, and so that can cause a little bit of stress and want you to push it off.
Yeah.
So I think you'll probably get to this, but conversations.
For me, I think about, like, some of the people that I brought into my life, or I allowed into my life, or I attracted into my life, however you want to look at it. And usually it was on the principle of wanting to help these people, right? So if I had to give myself, like, one significant area that I had to really work hard to improve was, it's like, I can see the best in people. Like, I can really see, like, who they could become. And so, I want to help those people become that thing. And sometimes I want it more for them than they want it for them. So, but I just put them in my ecosystem, and I'm like, you know what? Like, if they stay in this space long enough and we surround them with more people and whatever, eventually something in them is going to click, and then they'll just start to move more toward that version of themselves.
But you're only in control of yourself.
That's right.
And you're not in control of them. Yeah. So I've seen that from, like, the outside perspective too, not just with you, but in other businesses. You can't make someone improve or make someone want to do better.
Yeah.
You can see it for them and you can encourage them to grow, but you can't actually do the work for them. And that causes an issue, I would say. Like, that's what you're talking about, because it's like, you can only control yourself. You can see this employee and see that they could do X, Y, and Z, but if they're not willing to put in the work, then it's not gonna happen. It's the same in, like, relationships too.
Yeah. Well, and also there was, I just think of, like, certain, like, several, like, lots of people, and it's like, I've also been in situations where I confused loyalty for tolerance, right? So it's like, I was willing to tolerate a lot because I felt like some of these people that I had put into my world were very loyal to me. Like, they've got my back, they're going to do the right thing, all the things. So I was willing to tolerate a lot. Right. And so I was like, well, I can see the best in them. I want the best in them. I know what it's going to take. I've had conversations with them, but they just haven't gotten there yet. So it's okay. I mean, I know they've been in my world for, like, years and years and years and years and years, but I'm just going to continue to tolerate it. Because at some point, man, this just so you guys are clear, this was literally my thought process. At some point, the light will come on. They will also see what I can see and what I've been projecting, like, hey, I see you can be this thing. They will see it. And then the light will come on and they will immediately just start to get their stuff together, man. They will just come alive and come. What's the problem with all this?
The problem is you can't want it more than them.
I can't want it more than them. And right. I'm never going to get them. I'm never going to convince them to do it. Right. So this is the big thing, right? And so this is just the first point among all the points, several points we're going to go through today. But if I had to summarize this in one word, like I can see the great things in a lot of people, but I can never be the person. I can't make them move. Do you know what I mean? It's like if I were like to come to you and I'm like, Alisa, you have to go to the gym with me every day. Alisa, you have to do this. Alisa, you have to do this, because I can see the great, like when you do all these things, this is who you're going to become. The problem is if you don't choose it, and I just spend my life trying to convince you to, all I'm doing is just wasting my time. I'm honestly wasting both of our times.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place for all of that. And I think like the more you grow and learn, the more you realize that different people respond differently to different things. So yeah, you could tell me like you need to wake up and go to the gym day after day after day. And you telling me that actually makes me want to not do it more.
Yeah.
But if it were brought to me in a different way, maybe a way that I could understand it or the way that I operate, then I would potentially do it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, that goes into it. Like you're almost like hurting both people in that specific example.
Yeah.
So I would say that's a big one for sure.
Sorry. Are you done? Yeah. So I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to break some things into categories for you. Because so one of the big things, like I said, we like to be super tactical with all this stuff. One of the big things I had to do was sit down and write out what type of people do I want in my life, right? What types of people do I want in my life? I want people who are forward thinkers. I want people who can look in the mirror and really see themselves like the best version of themselves. I want people who are clear on what they want. I want people that understand why they want it. I want people who are willing to do the work, the obvious work, right? In order to get these people to start coming into my world, I had to start acting this way, right? So the hardest part for me, and this is why I'm telling you guys, so you can also tactically and practically apply this, is I had to write down what I want. Then I had to ask myself, am I this human being, right? Because I have all these, well, not all these, not a lot, but I had all these, a few people in my world where I'm like, I don't want these people, like how did these people get here? And I don't want these people here and whatever. And then when somebody taught me this and I started writing this stuff out, I'm like, holy crap. Like I was being these people. I was being this way. I was acting like this. And by default, I attract these people into my world. Right. So, anything you want to add there?
I mean, what you're saying and what you're getting at is that it all comes back to you taking ownership and you being the example for what you want in your life. And then, like you said before, like attracts like. Yeah. So if you want high performers and people who critically think, you have to be that person, because then only then are you going to attract people that are in alignment with that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, good stuff. Okay. So the first type of category where, when I started writing these things out, where I'm like, okay, this is definitely not on my list, was the victim mentality. Okay. So you guys, you say this and I say this and immediately you're starting to think like, who do I know that operates this way? Right. Okay. So, that's helpful. Maybe you got some people in your life right now, they've got that victim mentality. What does that mean? Everything is someone else's fault. Always has drama about something going on. Every old boss was terrible. Every ex was crazy. They're just like these constant excuses of everything going on. They always want sympathy for all the problems they're creating. That's what it looks like, right? So maybe you've got some of those people in your world. Now, remember, this podcast, we're always going to focus on control what you can control. Okay? So control what you can control. when I had, which I did, I definitely did, Alisa can attest to this. When I had people in my world that were victim mindset types of people, it's because oftentimes I would come up against adversity and immediately I would act like a victim. Okay. And it wasn't like glaring, like victim stuff, like this is clearly someone else's fault. This is whatever, blah, 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 blah. It was more subtle victim stuff like, well, I asked this person to do this thing and they just wouldn't do this thing. I asked them multiple times to do this thing and they still won't do this thing. These people won't execute how I want them to execute. And all of that space, never once did I say, I'm not sure I gave them specific enough instructions, and I'm not sure I gave them specific enough processes and whatever. So actually, this is on me with them not willing to execute, and I need to get with them and figure out what's holding them back and give them what they need. So this goes back to exactly what we were just saying. Somehow I had to look at my whole life. Gosh, I'm telling you guys, we're making this sound really simple. It is very, very difficult. I had to look at my life in each one of these categories that I'm going to go through. And I literally had to say, where are you showing up as a victim? Where are you showing up as a victim? And Alisa's really good at this stuff. There were definitely times where I'm just like, I don't know what this person's problem is, blah, blah, blah. She always says these things to me like, well, did you do your part? Are you doing your part? Usually Usually my response is like, I don't want to hear it. Yes. And that's because I know I'm not. Like when she says it, I know I'm not. And then I have to like stop and go back and think and be like, okay, where am I actually not doing my part? And I gotta figure it out. Yeah. Anything you want to add in this one?
Victimhood. You're looking at yourself, but like I would go back to like relationships too. And someone like myself who has like a very positive energy and a very just positive energy, negative can bring me so down. And this victimhood mentality is the same way. So like you get a flat tire on the side of the road. Like my mentality is like, okay, it's a flat tire. Like maybe we're going to be late somewhere. Maybe we now have to call someone to come out and take care of that. And just being around, I know this whole podcast is about being around those types of people that you need to eliminate.
Yeah.
But yeah, being around that just like literally drains the energy from someone like me with the positive outlook and positive mindset.
Yeah.
And like being around that so much can start to create that in me. So yes, look at yourself and say, where am I being a victim? But also realizing on the backside of that, like being around that will make you worse.
Yes.
It will literally drain you.
Right.
It's like a bucket.
Yes.
Being around it so long, you're like literally losing all the water in your bucket.
Yeah.
That's the best way when you say victimhood, like what I think.
Yeah. This is why I'm going through this with you guys today, or why we're going through this with you guys today, because at the end, well, I'll just talk about it a little bit now, but it's like once you start to like, you're going to have to, we are in this space now where it's like, if we accidentally are acting a certain way and we attract someone we do not want in our world, we immediately have to figure out what did we do that caused us to attract this person. And we either have to address the behavior immediately and ourselves and them, or eradicate this person quickly. Because exactly what Alisa is saying, if we let them meander or marinate in the space that we're in and we just tolerate this stuff, it is infectious. It's infectious. And that's kind of, I mean, like just from the business angle alone, like this type of person, the victimhood person will destroy accountability, infect teams, and create emotional exhaustion in people. That's what it does. So I'm not saying like if you guys identify, number one, we're not perfect in this. Just so we're clear, this still happens sometimes, right? We just are more self-aware, I would say. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we have this too. Like sometimes John will text me, "You're being a baby right now. Why are you being a baby?" Because sometimes I can be a victim.
Yeah.
Even though
all of us can be.
Yeah. So for sure, we're not perfect. No.
But it definitely helps, like as we go through this, and especially in the business world and relationships and things like that, is to have the self-awareness to realize, because I've been doing it too. I've done it too, where it's like something happens and I'm like, I get frustrated or whatever. And you're like, you literally will say to me sometimes, well, what's going right in your life right now? Or what are you grateful for right now? Yeah, see? And I'm just like, you don't want to hear it, but it's like, it's a healthy reminder that's just like, dang, man, like, whatever. And I read something this morning, real quick, that I thought was really good. And it's the reset power of 3, which basically is like, when I got a flat tire, you yeah, but 3 times, or yeah, but we have a really nice car. Yeah, but I have a cell phone that's still powered up. Yeah, but I'm going to be able to get somebody out here to fix it pretty quick. So you immediately take a sour situation and flip it, and whatever. I haven't done this yet, so I don't know if it really works, but I definitely practice gratitude almost every day. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah. Anything else to add on the victim type of person? We can.
I'm excited about these type of people. I don't have an outline. I don't know what we're getting into, but I'm excited about it.
I love it. Yeah. Sometimes I just throw you curveballs just to see. There's a baseball term for you, honey.
I love it.
What are you supposed to do when you get a breaking ball? Keep your hands back.
Yep. Keep your hands back.
Keep your hands back. You looked at me like really confused. I'm just throwing curveballs at you all day.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So, all right. So category 2 would be the people labeled as energy drainers. Okay. So these are people, sometimes our children fall into this category. But I don't know what we did to attract these kids, but they're here, right? So we're not going to be able to eradicate them, but we just have to teach them and be different. But anyway, these are people that are going to leave you like mentally exhausted, emotionally heavy, anxious, irritated, less focused. And so basically the best way I could tell you how to know if these people are in your life is you have to pay attention to how your nervous system reacts around these people, right? So I've definitely had some people. I can't think of anybody right now, in particularly, honestly, that's in our life that's like this. But it's like I've definitely worked around some of these people where it just feels like you could be in a meeting with them, or you could leave a conversation and you just feel exhausted from the conversation. Like your nervous system is kind of a wreck, and they're not super stable, and they do a lot of things erratically, and it just feels. I've actually been this person before. Now that I'm talking through this, right? Like I've had meetings with people, and I'm like, damn, they probably felt smashed after that, right? So, but yeah, a lot of it is these people have characteristic traits where they're addicted to chaos. They typically gossip. They're usually a little bit negative, and they just have constant emotional emergencies. Yeah. I would say is like how you would define them. You don't know anybody like that, do you?
I will say there are people. One thing I'll say about my energy is like if I'm in a conversation, and this happened last week, if I'm in a conversation or around people and I can feel the conversation's very negative, like just repetitive negative stuff one after the other, I will literally just walk away. Like I have to exit myself from the situation because I can't stand here because it will literally drain my energy. And now I'm like, I can't even focus for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, you said chaos. Like, yeah, there's chaos everywhere. I thrive on chaos. You would say I create it. Everyone else would say I do not create chaos. I control it. So I like being around chaos. But if there are situations that I can feel my energy being drained, I will literally exit. Exit the room, exit the conversation, and move on because I can't let it impact my energy.
I would say if you're a type A human, this is a self-awareness thing. This is maybe this is like an admittance from me, but it's like most type A people that I know or we come in contact with, including myself, have this a little bit, maybe some of them a lot, right? Because sometimes we're not the best communicators and we get frustrated because we can't get all the words out that we're trying to get out. And then we dump, right? And when we dump, we become energy drainers, right? Because we're just literally, we're like, think of it like this, like you're using all of the energy in a room and focusing it on like unleashing fury onto another group of humans, single human, whatever. And to the people that it's landing on, you're like sucking the air out of the room and they are starting to suffocate from the intensity that's being pushed on them, right?
I think it depends on the person. Like
Yes.
if you were unleashing on someone like me, I would take that energy and like now I have energy, if that
Right.
makes sense.
As long as it's not negative.
yeah.
Yes.
As long as it's not negative,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it is, I mean, if it is negative,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it's not like, I don't know how to say it, but yes, if it just depends on who you're giving it to.
Mm-hmm.
A normal employee, someone who's not built to handle or create
heat.
structure, yeah, it might be a little bit
Yeah.
different than if you're like,
I'll tell you where I have to really be careful with this is the kids, right? Like I learned pretty quick, like you can't come at the kids hot like this because they're not going to hear it. Any of them, they're just, they might push back and make a joke out of it or whatever, but they're not hearing you, right? Because they feel violated, or maybe that's not the right word, but they definitely feel like you came at them hard, and you can just see it in their face. But in the context of what we're talking about today, again, the purpose of this is not to like for you guys to go and disseminate your team and be like, well, we're gonna eradicate these people and whatever. This is more of a self-evaluation thing. Like, where am I showing up in this certain way that I'm attracting these people into my world? And maybe one of these categories, you're like, I can't stand these types of people. And you're like, okay, again, what inside of yourself are you doing? Right. Okay. So third category, I would label these people as opportunists. Okay. And not in a positive way. These are opportunities. These people only appear when there's a big upside for them. They only want to show up and help when there's a big upside for them, but they disappear when all hell starts breaking loose. Okay. During hard times, things are difficult. These people are gone. Okay. They attach themselves to momentum. So when the momentum is high, they want to be a part of it. When the momentum starts to die off, they're like, I'm out. And so signs of that would be like transactional relationships. That's a perfect example. Like, hey bro, I've got millions of examples of this, right? Sudden loyalty, over flattery, always needing access to someone. Okay. So the power, like the main thing you're really looking for here is like, some people don't really love you. They love your position. They love like what's going on in your world. So they want to be a part of that, right? Have you ever had anybody like I've definitely had this, people reach out, like they can see like the business or life or whatever is like very up. And they're like, hey, what do you got going on over there? Like, I want to be a part of what you're doing and whatever. But then like, as soon as like you have like a downtime or a slump or whatever, you like reach out to these people and they're not returning text messages or DMs or whatever. And this exactly what this is. This is the opportunist type of personality. But again, I can remember times where I've shown up this way, where I've been like, I want to be a part of that. That looks cool. How do I become a part of that? You know what I mean? And then you look back on it later on and you're like, damn, I was showing up. A guy I know used to use this term called a taker. And that's kind of what these people are. Like, they're trying to take when times are good, but then they're not a giver when times are rough, right? They're not also circling back and reaching out and being like, now how do I help you? Right? I was on the wave with you, and now how do I help you?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I feel like we can relate maybe on both ends. Like, for me, this seems selfish to me. Like, that's the word that comes to mind. Like, you're very selfish, and not you, but me. Yeah. I have been that before, like very selfish in interactions. And then I think like we've grown a lot. I believe, I know I have, into now being more like, I won't take something from you unless I can give you something back.
Yeah.
You know? So it's kind of that just personal growth that we go through. But yeah, I've definitely had experience on both sides of that, I would say.
Yeah. That's good stuff. All right. Category 4, won't spend a lot of time on category 3. Category 4, the envious supporter. These people are interesting. I can't think specific. No, like it's like the fake supporter. So like outside, they look super supportive publicly, but subtly, like you win, like we chalk up a big win and they minimize it. They're actually competing with you. So it's like, they're like, oh, that's a big win, but they're also like, how do I beat this guy? You know what I mean? they're going to withhold encouragement. So I've literally talked about this on my social media page, right? They're literally like, if you post something on Instagram or whatever, and listen, it's fine. Like I'm making the connections here so you understand. But you post something on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and if these people were standing right next to you, they would be like, damn, good work, man. That's killer, blah, 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 blah. But on what, they're not going to like your post. They're not going to comment on your post. They're not going to DM you and tell you you're doing a good job. They're not going to text you and tell you you're doing a good. They're just like quiet. I wouldn't label them a hater at all, honestly. Like they've just got something in them where it's like they just want to win too, but they can't celebrate the win while you're winning. Because they want the win that they don't have yet. So it's almost like robs them of joy or something, right? So, but they celebrate. Again, it's not a hater because they're not outwardly doing it, but they're also celebrating your struggles internally. So they watch you like slip off and they're like, yeah, oh, you fell back a little bit, whatever. So it's like the old cliche phrase. It's like, not everybody clapping for you actually wants to see you win. Like you just don't know why they're clapping. I think for this one, this is big for a lot of the entrepreneurs, right? Because I think about some people that we know pretty well that are like, they're always winning on a big level, and they are surrounded by these people. Like we've been to events where you like watch from the outside, and it's like, like they get up next to them and they're like, I love you. And you're so awesome. And can I get a picture with you and whatever? And then they literally walk away and they're like, he's going to mess this up. Like this thing's going to be broke or whatever, like give him some time. And, not a hater, so to speak, but more of like, it's just, again, if I had to look, I don't specifically remember a time offhand where I was acting like this, but it's like, if I had to look inside, I would say it's more, it would feel more to me like, I just want to beat them, but I can't. I really just want to beat them, but like, I'm not disciplined enough in my disciplines, or I don't have my shit together. Pardon my French. I don't have my stuff together enough to like really do what they're doing. So I'm going to be happy for them to their face, but behind the scenes, I'm going to be like, turd. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Do you have anything there you want to add?
No, not really.
Are you envious supporter, honey?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty encouraging and supportive.
Yeah.
I said haters because, there's like people on social media specifically, like there are people like watching your stuff and they never say anything.
Yeah.
There are a few people that I've seen that I know like don't align with me, but they're still watching every single story on Instagram, let's say. Like they're watching the things, they're just not saying anything about it. That's why I said haters. I don't really mean like they're hating you.
Well, but that could be an envious supporter, right?
Right.
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't remember where we were when we were talking about this.
Let me see what she's doing. Let me watch what she's doing.
It's like, oh, they look really happy. And, well, I'm sure something will happen where they're not, it can't be that great. Their relationship can't be that fun. You know what I mean? It's like, okay. It is that fun though, just so we're clear, but whatever. All right. Category 5. These are the people I would label as a chronic boundary violator, So this is, we are chronic. We might be chronic boundary violators. All right. So here's the chronic. I'm going to own my own stuff because I have to do that. I can only control me. I am definitely, I am at times a chronic boundary violator. Okay. So they disregard your time. They constantly interrupt you. They emotionally dump. I don't know if that one fits, but the other two right now fit. They have a lack of respect for schedules, and they want you to be over accessible according to their own expectations. So the things that are going to be really important for these types of people is the boundaries have to be set. Like there has to be clear boundaries set in place. I know boundary is a weird clinical term. People hear that word and they don't really like it a whole lot. So let me just tell you what a boundary looks like. A healthy boundary looks like is there's a big difference. I don't want to go into this deep today. I've done this before on some of the GTW podcasts, but there's a big difference between expectations and agreements. Okay. If you have an expectation of someone, and you just say, well, I expect you to behave a certain way, but you guys never came to an agreement of what that looks like. You're essentially pushing your will onto someone else, and that's a recipe for disappointment. Okay. So if you get nothing else from this podcast today, I would strongly suggest that you start specifically in all your relationships, start setting agreements with people and stop negotiating with expectations, right? Because agreements look like where we sit down together and we're just like, hey, what do you want this to look like? And then Alisa expands on what she wants it to look like, and I expand on what I want it to look like. And maybe those things aren't the same, but we, negotiate or come to an agreement in the middle of what it's actually going to look like, and we operate by the agreement, right? So you can hold people accountable in that space and whatever. But typically, most of the time, just so we're clear, for me, I don't do this all of the time, but sometimes if I feel like something is urgent, I'll definitely barge in if she's in the middle of something. If we don't have a boundary set or whatever, and she'll just be like, okay, I'll start to work on it. Now, that's not healthy on her end, and it's not healthy on my end. You would say the same, right? Yeah. So if she is working on a specific project and she comes to me and she's like, hey, from this time to this time, I'm going to be on a call or I'm going to be doing this thing or whatever. And I say, okay, great. What she's done there is set a boundary. She's just like, she's not being rude or whatever. She's not saying, don't interrupt me in this, whatever. She's just telling me right up front, I'm going to be on a call. I've got this project I'm working on, whatever the case may be. If I then go to her in that time slot and be like, hey, I need this done, and I've just literally disrespected her boundary and become this chronic boundary violator, right? So when just so we're clear, like I was kind of joking a little bit earlier, but it's like when there are boundaries set in our relationship and our work relationship at home, whatever, I don't violate those things unless it's an emergency, but that doesn't happen often. But that's because she sets the boundary, right? So if you are constantly where you're just like, dang, I can think of like 10 people that do this to me all the time. They just literally come in and they interrupt me when I'm working on stuff or whatever. You're not setting boundaries. Is that what you would say? Yes. Yeah.
We have a specific example. I think I have a
Yeah,
specific example. Like if you're, if I am texting someone and they don't respond for 4 hours and then they text me and I don't respond in 2 minutes and they like emphasize the message or thumbs up or question it, I'm like, whoa, give me a second. Yeah. But that's because I haven't said like texts are more casual than like a return phone call, especially in business. But if I haven't set that boundary in place to say like, I need 20 minutes to respond or I need 25 minutes to respond, then I haven't put that boundary in place. So that's why it's getting, violated. Yeah. Based on this.
Well, yeah. And there's no agreement there. Right. And sometimes I feel the same way. And we've had conversations about this. Like you can, using the example that you set, you text somebody, they don't respond for several hours or whatever. Then they text you and you don't respond in 2 minutes and they freak out. And, so how you clean that up is you have to have a conversation with them. You have to be willing and courageous to have a conversation with them that just says, hey, can we create an agreement here? What does this look like? Right? Are you, if I'm okay if you don't want to respond for 4 hours, but you also have to be okay that I don't respond in 20 minutes. So that's another example of an agreement / boundary. Yep. So, yeah.
And this, what you just said was chronic boundary. So that would be like me making an agreement with said person. Offender. Exactly. Yes. I made an agreement with them that I need 20 minutes to respond. Right. They violated that once. I addressed it. We have an agreement. I'm not going to respond for 20 minutes. Over and over and over and over and over, just violating it. So yeah, I think that's what that means. You do, you mentioned you do this sometimes with like the schedule and stuff like that, but you're not chronically violating the boundary. I'm not a habitual
offender. Perpetual, I think that's the right word. Once in a while, offender, but not chronic. So I would say like, people who get mad at boundaries benefited from you having none. So just keep that in mind, right? The people that get mad at you having boundaries benefited from you at one time having none. So just set some boundaries. All right, this is the last category. This is category 6, the constant talker, rare doer. Okay. I guarantee all of us have had these people in our lives. These are the people that are going to be like, I'm going to do something. I got an idea. I'm always going to start something. I'm always talking big about something, never executing, but they're always talking about what they're going to do, right? So in the world that we operate in, rarely are people saying this is what we're going to do. Usually what happens is they know what they're going to do, and you don't get to see it until the thing pops out. And then it pops out and you're like, damn, I didn't even know you were working on that. That's what we're talking about, right? Like somebody could literally lose 100 pounds. You don't hear them say anything about it. They show up one day, like they exit the public for a minute. They show up one day, they're 100 pounds lighter. You're like, damn, I didn't even know you were doing that. Versus the people who, I'm sure, I'll just use this as an example because I'm sure we've all heard about it at this point in time. But the people doing 75 hard where they're like day 1, day 2, day 5, day 6. And you know, these people are in it for the what? For the applause. That's what they're there for, right? They want somebody to give them attaboys. And ultimately at the end, they might have changed a little bit, but they didn't fully transform through the process because they were in it more. So there, it all comes down to like, I'm going to, if you want to jump in here too, but it all really comes down to some people are just addicted to sounding successful rather than just being successful in what they're working on. But yeah, what do you got in there?
That relates to the podcast we did called Character versus Reputation. We
Right.
dove deep into that on that podcast. So if you didn't listen to that, I would go back.
Yeah. So here's why some of you guys and we have held on to people too long, right? Sometimes it's fear of conflict. Sometimes, like I brought up a little bit earlier, it's that savior complex. Like I want them to be better more than they want to be better or get better. Sometimes it's confusing. It could be trauma bonding. It's like we're all just kind of playing off each other's hurts and fears and, whatever. But I just think the point of it all is time invested is not proof someone belongs in your future. So understand that. That doesn't mean like if you've dumped or poured a lot of time into someone or they've spent a lot of time with you, that doesn't necessarily automatically make them part of your future, right? You guys get to choose. You get to look at these people in your life and decide, okay, again, just to circle the whole thing back real quick, how are you showing up? How did these people get into your life to begin with, right? And then I would make a list of like, the people that are in your life that you're going to allow to be in your life, how do you want them to show up? What do you want them to look like? How do you want them to act and demonstrate behavior and whatever? And why is that important to you? And then when you look at that list, are you being this list? Again, you're never going to be perfect. So it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Are you acting like these things? So,
like, where do you want to be in 5 years?
Yeah.
Is this group of people you're surrounded with going to get you where you want to be in 5 years?
Yep.
So are you around a lot of negativity? Is that going to take you where you want to go? Are you around a lot of people who drink alcohol knowing you don't want to do that? You can't really surround yourself with people doing things that you're not in alignment with and then expect to grow.
Yeah.
Because just to wrap all this up, all of these different categories, the 6 that you went through, they're going to discourage growth, which is going to negatively impact you. They're going to mock your discipline.
Yep.
They're going to need you to feel small so they can feel secure. And then they're going to criticize what they secretly avoid. So what they're avoiding in doing themselves, they're going to criticize that in you. So I think, you just have to get really like super focused, like you said, on what you want in your life and then where do I want to go in 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. Is this group of people, whether it's in a business or personal or at home, where do I want to be? Where am I going? And are these people in alignment and going to encourage me or help me get there?
You flipped through it really quick, but I think it's really important. You said or at home. Yeah. And I think that's probably, I mean, listen, we're definitely 150% not condoning or condoners of divorce or separation and relationship or whatever the case may be.
I discourage that.
But it is, yeah, I do too. But it is very, very important that you look at what you have, ask yourself again, how did I contribute to this, or how did I cause this, or what is my role in this? Address your part first before you ever address the other person whatsoever. But then, if you need to, get a counselor or somebody in the middle and help you guys work through what does that look like? How do you support each other better? How do you not show up as one of these people that I described, or, whatever. So I want to give you guys, before we roll out of here, I want to give you just some things. So you have some clarity in these different categories of types of people. So how do we not attract them in, right? I want to give you, so when you're making your list, I want to give you some things to think about, right? So do they take accountability? Okay. That's the ownership side we were talking about. Do they bring peace or chaos? There is no in between here, right? Do they bring peace, or when you're around them, do you feel at peace? Like these people are helping me, or do you feel freaking chaotic? Okay. Are they consistent? Are you consistent? Are they consistent? Do they celebrate others genuinely? How do they act when they get told no? That is a huge one. Okay. So when they get told no, how do they act? They act like a victim, so on and so on. How do they handle correction when you have to give them corrective action or behavior? Are they productive or performative? So big difference. You have to deduce between these two. Are they productive, meaning they're actually making things happen, or are they just making it look like they're making things happen, right? Are they around during hard seasons, or only seem to be around when things are great? These are the things that you guys have to really ask yourselves. Watch people when they don't get their way. That's who they are. Watch people when they don't get their way. That's who they are, right? It's so funny. That's one of the things I love about our kids. Like, we have got one in particular that when she doesn't get her way, she's chill. It just, okay. She just goes the other way, does the thing. We have other kids that are still learning what it looks like to not get their way. So it's fun being a parent for sure. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So wrapping this up, just want to leave you guys with a couple of things, and then I'll get your, give me, like, what do you want to wrap this up with? And then I'll close it out.
I think I'm all set. I just overemphasize being clear about who you are and where you're going, and then aligning the people in your space to be that versus anything negative or not where you're going. That is just what I would overemphasize on this.
Yeah, so good. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. Protecting your peace is not weakness. Protecting your standards is not arrogance. Sometimes growth looks less like adding people and more like removing them. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. We appreciate you guys. Again, if you guys could like, comment, share, get the podcast out there. Some of you guys are new listeners. If you'll just go to like Spotify and Apple, leave us a review. What do you think so far? And again, guys, we're always open to like, hey guys, talk about this, questions about this, whatever. Questions at thereadystatus.com. You guys can, just so you know, too, we have a landing page up on thereadystatus.com. You guys can join the email list. We're going to be rolling things out soon. So it'd be cool if you jumped over there. But we appreciate you guys so much. We look forward to talking to you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Ready Status Podcast. If this episode challenged you, encouraged you, or made you think differently, share it with someone who needs it.